Right, buddy, in this video we'll be looking at the Manchester United team and ranking every single player out of 10. It's been quite an impressive kind of last few weeks in the season for Manchester United under Michael Carrick, and I think the team has come on leaps and bounds from where it was under Ruben Amorim to where it is now. Again, we go through each player, we talk about this season so far, especially the new signing, talk about their impact on the team, as well as some other interesting stats as well, which we'll talk about. But the first player that we're obviously going to start off by talking about is the Manchester United goalkeeper, Sen Lamons, who has absolutely transformed Manchester United. I think he is one of the big reasons we are as high as in the table where we are. It's not the sole reason, but I still definitely think he is a very, very good goalkeeper. And what he's improved, how he's improved this Manchester United team has absolutely been fantastic to watch. Yes, he's conceded 29 goals in 3 matches, hasn't saved any penalties, but you look at some of the games that he's been involved with at Manchester United one in which he's been kind of instrumental in. Liverpool away, he was absolutely fantastic. I remember making numerous of saves. Even in his debut against Sunderland, he was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, he's been an absolute revelation signing. Yes, he's only 23 years of age, and United signed him for £80 million. And remember, there was a lot of fans, potentially including myself, who said go out and get the more experienced goalkeeper. Ultimately, they stuck with Lamons, and ultimately that has paid off massively. As I said, from his debut against Sunderland, where he kept a clean sheet, I think United have only lost like 3 games with Lamons in goal out of a possible 23. And as I said, he's had so many impressive performances, even getting his first Belgium national team call up, which is fantastic as well. So as I said, listen, 90 minutes, and listen, he didn't even start straight away. He come in for the City game, he was on the bench in that game, on the bench in the Chelsea game, on the bench in the Brentford game, and then made his debut against Sunderland, in which he was really impressive. He kept a clean sheet, he made a lot of good saves. There's that one that we've seen from, I think it's Xhaka, and there's a few others in that game where he made some important saves. He claimed crosses fantastically well, and he's just a massive upgrade on Andre Onana in my opinion, and I think a lot of fans would agree on that. And he's not a goalkeeper that makes it all about himself. He's someone who turns up and does his job. As I said, after that Liverpool away, a 90 minutes played, man of the match performance, a win against Brighton. In terms of clean sheet, I mean, the one against Everton more recently was fantastic. The way in which he sort of commanded the box, there was a lot of sort of physical demands on him from the set pieces. And yeah, he's just someone who's a professional and gets what it's like to play for United. Another clean sheet against Newcastle. And then under Carrick, I think he's gone on leaps and bounds. Good game against City. Didn't really have too much to do in the game, which again probably does make it even difficult for a goalkeeper when they do have to sort of save a shot or a cross. Was brilliant in the game against Spurs away where he made some good saves. I think his overall performances have just been fantastic. And yes, he's not has he been perfect in terms of there are a few errors in there, and there's obviously is room for improvement. But on the large part, it's been absolutely fantastic to watch him as a goalkeeper. And he's someone who, as I said, has done a fantastic job in terms of goals prevented, the amount of points that he's won us. Yeah, I think he's a very, very good goalkeeper and someone who, listen, I hope is at the club for a long, long time. And it was a good investment by the whole United team and Ineos, and we have to give him credit for that because the goalkeeper was the big decision. We've seen what happened with Onana and Bayindir, and they were not satisfactory for Manchester United. I think they're decent goalkeepers on their day, but not for what Manchester United need. And Lamons is just a calming presence. You know he's gonna do his job. As I said, he might not be the most flashy goalkeeper with his feet in terms of that, but he's someone who can distribute the ball well enough. And as a goalkeeper, your job is to just save the ball, and that's ultimately something that Sen Lamons is very, very good at doing that. So yeah, I've been very happy with Lamons in net. I think he's a very impressive goalkeeper. For me, he has been United signing of the summer. I know Mbeumo and Cunha have been very, very good, and so too Sesko more recently. But if you look at impact in the team and the position that we needed, it was a big risk signing him because we didn't know too much about him, but he was scouted very, very well. Now, after all of that, I'll actually rate a season out of 10. I think it has to be an 8 out of 10. I think you look at the impact, it's been fantastic. You look at the saves and the performances that he's had. You look at the win rate with him in goal. And look at what we had previously. It's been a significant improvement. So Lamons for me gets a 7 out of 10 for his. Actually, no, I did give him an 8 out of 10. So yeah, I'd give Lamons 8 out of 10 for his performances this season. Now we have to talk about Binder. Now Binder did start the season. It does seem like a long time ago in which he did that. Yeah, he started the season at Arsenal, and then he started again some few games after that. I think his season was very poor. If we're being honest, I think he's a goalkeeper who, again, does have quality, and when we signed him, he looked pretty decent. But in terms of what a goalkeeper is supposed to do, save shots, he's not the greatest at doing that. I don't think his distribution's the worst. But again, what's the point of a goalkeeper having good distribution if they can't save the ball accurately? He's played 6 matches, scored 11 goals, and I think we would have had a few more points if we had Lamont in there from the start. But yeah, if I had to give his season a rating out of 10, probably a 4 out of 10 if we're being honest. For Binder. So that's the goalkeepers done. Lamont gets a 8 and Binder gets a 4. Obviously, Onana did not play any games for United this season. Not that I'm aware of anyway. I'm pretty sure we started off the season with Binder. Now we're looking at the defenders. Now we'll start off with Noussair Mazraoui. Now, Mazraoui's season, it's been a bit up and down is what I'd say. I think he's had good moments in it. I think more recently he's got into the team in the last game. I think Mazraoui is a very good player. He's played 15 matches in the league, started 7. Listen, with Mazraoui, obviously he got the nod for the Newcastle game. Dallow's been on decent form, so that's why he's been playing. I think Mazraoui is a very good right back. I think he's competent. He's better than Dalot in my opinion, and I know Dalot's done a very good job recently. I think what he adds to the team defensively is very good, and he's more a balanced player. Now, as I said, we can't criticise Dalot, who I'll talk about, but Mazraoui's minutes have been quite limited, and I think that's down to Dalot. But also, listen, when you're playing a back 5, there's more opportunity to get in because there's just more numbers at the back. And I think Mazraoui hasn't been able to do that. But in terms of his season, he's had some decent games. I thought against Newcastle he was alright. Palace he was alright as well. He's come on. I think at Palace actually was very good because he had to come on at left back while faster, and I think he did a very good job at doing that. And listen, yes, we lose a lot from him at left back because he's coming in field because that's just natural for him to do so. But yeah, I mean, I have to give it an average 5 out of 10 if we're being honest. I think Mazraoui's season, from what we know it can be, it's just not been enough minutes. And I think when we do get into Europe, I think hopefully next season it'd be a good opportunity for him to get some more minutes anyway, just due to the amount of games that we're playing. But yeah, Mazraoui for me gets a 5 out of 10 this season. Now the next player we'll talk about is De Ligt. Now up until I think it was the 30th November, I thought De Ligt was United's best player. He started every single game in the league. He had good games against Arsenal, Chelsea, I remember. And yeah, he was just absolutely fantastic. And then since then, he's been out for an injury, and we don't know when he's going to be back. As I said, I think he's someone who has been fantastic in the games that he played. He started every minute in the league up until the Palace game. And yeah, as I said, I thought he was very good. He's a physical defender. And a lot of people have been saying sell De Ligt. Listen, I think De Ligt, for me, on his day, him and Martinez are United's best 2 centre-halves. And I think at the time where he was playing, I think he was one of the best in the league. Now, obviously, he's injured at the minute, and the injury that we don't know what it is cause for concern. A lot of people are saying sell De Ligt. I don't think that should be the case. I think he does have a future at Manchester United. I don't know where that I think that is in that sort of back two. Whether that's with Martinez or not, we'll have to wait and see because his injuries keep creeping up. I think his aggression is fantastic. His leadership, I do see him as a future United captain. I think his quality on the ball is good. We haven't seen him in a back 4. We haven't seen him, as I said, in over 3 months. I think that is a worry, but he's slowly getting back. There's no need for United to rush him back at the moment, risk getting another injury. As I said, De Ligt, someone for me who got a lot of scrutiny when he signed. People were calling him a flop, saying that he didn't work out at Bayern, didn't work out at Juventus. But you have to understand, he was someone who captained Ajax, I think, at 19 or 17, and then got big money move to Juve, got another move to Bayern, and then to Manchester United. And I think he has been very good. And you have to remember, he is only still, like, you think he's a player that's like in his 30s, he still is only 26 years of age. He's got a few years left on his deal. I certainly wouldn't think about giving him a new deal right now, but in terms of his season out of 10, the games that he played, 13 matches, they were all very, very good. I know it's a small sample size, but I'm going to give him a 7 out of, I'll give him a 6 out of 10, De Ligt. I think in the games that he has played, I think he's done a good job, and hopefully there's more to kind of get from him next season, because I think there's a quality player there, and I think he would be my starting centre back. Now the next one, Harry Maguire. Now Harry Maguire, more recently, he wasn't really in the squad at the start of the season because, as I said, De Ligt was doing so well. Now under Michael Carrick, he'd played in every single game under him. I think he started every single game, and I think he's been quite impressive. The second half, or whatever you want to say, under Michael Carrick's been quite impressive. Before that, he was getting like sporadic minutes here and there, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like he wasn't getting many minutes. And listen, I think with Maguire, he's a decent player, and I think he's someone who, listen, his contract up in the summer, I'd certainly look at keeping him at the club. You look at sort of the moments he's had this season and the minutes that he's got under Carrick, I still think he can offer a lot at the top level. Now, in terms of his sample size and the games that he's played for Manchester United, they've been good. I think he's a competent physical defender. He's someone who's aggressive. The goal against Liverpool was fantastic. He's played 16 matches in the league. He started 12 of them, most of them coming more recently under Michael Carrick. I think his season's been decent. I'd give it a 6 out of 10 as well in terms of his season. I think, listen, the moment against Liverpool was fantastic, and the header was brilliant, and he had a decent game then. And I think since then he hasn't been able to kick on. But now under Carrick he looks very, very good, which I'm happy about. Now the next player after Maguire is obviously continuing with the theme of defence, is Lisandro Martinez. Now he actually came back the game that De Ligt got injured against Palace in November. Now since then he has played 14 matches for Manchester United, and he's currently injured at the moment. He started 9 out of those 14, and in those 9 it was the Arsenal game he was fantastic, the Manchester City game he was very, very good. I thought the Tottenham game, I think he made the most passes in that game. On his day, Lisandro Martinez is a very good defender, and I think he does have a lot of quality. I think the concern is the injury, and I think this season we've not tried to rush him back too early, because again, that's a chance of picking up another injury. He's had 2 serious injuries since being at United, and listen, as I said, there's no doubt in his quality. I think he and De Ligt would be my best 2 centre-backs for United, but if he can't stay fit, I certainly look at selling him. Now, he's had a very small sample size in that time, and in that time he has been good, and I think you do miss his impact on the team when he's not available and he's not around. I think his line-breaking passes, his aggression, his high standard is something that United need and have missed. And you look at the last few games, particularly that Newcastle game, we were looking for someone just to progress the ball through the lines. And I think Maguire is not really an asset of his, and neither is it to Leny Yoro. I don't think anyone really in that United back line has that sort of line-breaking and passing, on the ball ability in general that Martinez has, whether that's a long ball, whether that's a 30-yard line-breaking pass through the midfield, whether that's a ping over the top, whether that's bringing the ball out from the back in general. There's no one who has that sort of quality. And I think Martinez this season, it's been short, but it's been impactful. So I'd give him a 6 out of 10 for his season. I think it has been pretty decent. Small sample size, but in the time that he's had, it's been pretty good. Now, the next player that we're going to rate is Leny Yoro. Now, he's had, again, an up and down season. United playing a few games this season has kind of, if we're in Europe, the defensive depth there is fantastic. He's played 26 matches in the league. He started 15 of them. He played 90 minutes against Newcastle, 90 minutes against Palace, and 90 minutes against Everton, obviously with Martinez being out. I think Yoro, there's definitely a lot of potential there. This is his second season at the club. He still is only 20 years of age. I think he's a very, very good defender. I think there's been some standout moments this season. I think that West Ham cameo, the 22 minutes that he got, he was brilliant in that. I think in that Everton game where he had to come in for Martinez, he was very, very good. And that Newcastle game, he was all right, to be fair. Obviously, there has been some dodgy moments. I think Aston Villa early on in the season wasn't great from him, and he did struggle in that. And I think there is a player there. I think he, again, learning off the likes of De Ligt, Martinez, Maguire, who have a lot of experience at the top level. Um, at the top level has been good. I think he's a quality player, and I think there is a lot of potential there. I think beating him, United signing him over Madrid was positive, and I think he's still got a lot more to give. There are going to be mistakes there. I think his season, again, for all the centre backs, really, um, for all the centre backs there's been limited minutes because we're not in Europe. I think you look at going into the season, the depth that we had, Martinez, Euro, you thought, yes, there's going to be a lot of minutes there and there's going to be opportunity to rotate. But ultimately, because United got knocked out so early in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, there has been a difficult game for United, for Euro to get chances. But listen, I'll give him a. Has he been? I'll give him a 5 out of 10. I mean, it's quite difficult to rate him, but yeah, you can let me know your thoughts on that. Now, the last defender, Luke Shaw, Shawberto Carlos, whatever you want to call him. Luke Shaw, listen, he's played every game bar one, I think, in the league this season. 29 matches, 29 started. He missed the Newcastle game. Actually, no, did he? I don't know, he did miss the Newcastle game. He started that game and then he came off for Mazraoui. Listen, Luke Shaw's fitness that gets flipping about 7 ratings himself. The fact that he's been able to stay fit for that amount of time has been very impressive. I'm happy with that. I think his quality's been good. He's had some decent games defensively for United, and I think he's a very good left back. We've seen the sort of aim, what he's trying to do. He's trying to stay fit for that World Cup, which you got to respect. I think Shaw is definitely a quality left back, and I think he does have the ability that we've seen. Now, in terms of rating his season, the fact that he's been able to stay fit, as I said, is a positive. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, no, because Le Mans is an 8. I give Shaw a 6.5 out of 10. I think Luke Shaw's been someone who you can rely on for minutes, but I don't think he's had like outstanding games where he's been on the overlap, he's got a lot of assists or whatever. But yeah, Shaw gets a 6 from me. Dalot, sorry, I forgot about Dalot. Dalot, last few weeks under Carragher has been good. He's played right back, right wing back, left wing back this season. I really do like Dalot. I think his passion is there. Sometimes his quality can be questioned because he does make stupid decisions. As I said, he's been a key player for Manchester United this season. Started 23 out of 27 games that he's been involved with, come up with some decent goals and assists at the time. I think one thing you can say about Dalot is he loves Manchester United and he gets the club. I think he's a professional player. His performances this season have shown that. He's had some very good games. I thought City, Arsenal, he was very, very good. I thought against Palace he was decent as well. Against Spurs as well, where he got an assist. He's a decent player, don't get me wrong. I think his season has had up and down moments. Is he the sort of greatest right back you're going to see? No. Is he a Trent? Is he a sort of that level of right back? No. But is he someone who does his job and has improved? I remember that season in the Champions League, that one game against Villarreal where he just got cooked by Danjuma. Like every time 1-on-1 against him, there was a problem. Even in the Carabao Cup, where he's come on, but I think he's improved. He's still 26, so he's still got a few years left at the highest level, hopefully anyway. And yeah, would he be someone I'd be in a rush to sell? No, but someone who, if you want to be challenging for the league, I look to sell. Yes, his season's been alright. There's been some good moments in it. I'd give him a 6 out of 10 for his season. Now, moving on finally to the midfielders. We start off with Casemiro. Again, he's had a wicked season, man. I think his season so far at the club has been fantastic. I think 27 matches, started 26. He's had a few. I think he's had 1 red card this season. 6 goals, 2 assists for defensive midfielder is outrageous. So 8 goal contributions in 27 games. I think we miss Casemiro, and you see when he's not in the team, and you can feel that really because Ugarte doesn't have the sort of presence that Casemiro has, and it's going to be very, very difficult to replace him. I think one game a week has actually benefited Casemiro. It's had a lot of negatives, but for Casemiro on a personal, it's massively benefited him in terms of he's able to recover, he's able to play 90 minutes most games, and I think, yes, he'd be leaving and it's sad and it's going to be difficult to replace him, but this season, man, he's been brilliant, and as I said, big games he's turned up. City, he was fantastic. Arsenal, he was brilliant. Against Fulham, he got a goal and an assist. Against Manchester City, as I said, he played 81 minutes and it was brilliant. Newcastle, which we won. Bournemouth, like every game he's been fantastic. There's not one game where I thought this season where plenty Newcastle 4 days ago. But other than that, I mean, he's been fantastic. And as I said, there's multiple goal involvements that he's had, and he's a threat from set pieces. His aerial ability, his defensive ability is fantastic. And yeah, I've been very, very happy with Casemiro this season. I think he's someone who we're going to massively miss because of the talent, not the talent, but the quality that he has. And as I said, he's had an up and down career at United. First season was good, second and third wasn't great. This fourth season has been better and has been very, very good. If I had to rate out of 10, it would be a 7. I think Casemiro has been that good, and you just see sort of the games where he's not been in the team, you do massively miss him. You miss that energy, the experience, the know-how of the game, the sweeping up, the passing, and I think he's built a very good relationship with Kobbie Mainoo, which is something that you like to see. So yeah, hopefully he has a good end to the season, and we wish Casemiro all the best, because he's I don't think he's quite a legend at the football club, but the impact and the big moments that he's had has been fantastic, and more recently in this season. So yeah, Casemiro 7 for me. I think he's been brilliant. Now after Casemiro, we have Ugarte. Listen, Ugarte just never hit the standards that we kind of expected and hoped that he would get. He's still 24. He's got 3 years left on his deal. Sorry. Again, he hasn't had many minutes this season. 19 matches, started 7. The only minutes he's really kind of got is Casemiro not being fit or being suspended. I just think Ugarte is someone I'd look at cashing in on. I think United would do that as well. His minutes have been a bit random. He's only played 782 minutes this season. And in that time, there's not many really standout games that he's had. I don't think you can really pinpoint one and say, yes, that's where Ugarte had a wicked game. He come on in the Newcastle game, actually looked probably the best I've seen Ugarte in a while. Again, I'm just going to give Ugarte a 4 out of 10 for his season. Next, you have Kobbie Mainoo. Now, this is the one I want to talk about because he started off the season with barely any minutes. We look at some of the minutes here that he was getting. Most of the time, it was 0 minutes, if we're being honest. We look at the start of the season. Obviously, in the Arsenal game, was on the bench. In the Fulham game, on the bench. Grimsby Town played 90 minutes in the cup, actually got an assist. Then Burnley played 45. Then Man City played 28, 3 against Chelsea, 24 against Brentford, 13 minutes against Sunderland, 5 against Liverpool, 20 against Brighton, on the bench in the Forest game, 32 minutes against Everton, 1 minute against Palace, on the bench for the West Ham game, 12 minutes against Wolves, 29 against Bournemouth, and then it really got since then, and then 16 against Burnley, and then under sort of Fletcher, that's where it kicked up. Or wait, was that Burnley game under Fletcher? Anyway, that's where the minutes started kicking up under Fletcher, then into Michael Carrick, where in those games that he started, City, Arsenal, Fulham, Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Crystal Palace and Newcastle, he's been brilliant in all of them. He's popping up with goals and assists. We always knew there was a player there in Kobbie Mainoo. I think the turnaround of the season that he's had has been fantastic, considering that he wasn't playing any games. To put in those performances have been really quite impressive, and I think we always know there's a top level player there in Mainoo, and he's someone that you build your team around because he's that good of a player. I think the quality that he has is amazing. I think there's so much still left to give, and I think it's all about United finding the right partner for Kobbie Mainoo to work with. It was criminal, the treatment that Amorim gave him. The amount of times he was holding the bench it just didn't make any sense. That level of player, why was he on the bench for players like Ugarte? It just didn't make sense. And under Carrick, we've seen the quality, and it's just simple. Putting him in that position in the midfield where he can do a good job. And he's got a good relationship with Casemiro. He's got a good relationship with Bruno and a lot of players around him. And yeah, he's someone who's had a tough start to the season, but this sort of recent 6 weeks under Carrick have been very, very good. So, or even longer than that, has been fantastic. And yeah, I think Carrick is someone who's brought the best out. I mean, he's not even brought the best out. He's just letting him play and kind of build into what the sort of player that he is. And there's still a lot of development, but what he has to this team is fantastic. So I have to give him. I mean, the first half you can't rate it, but the second half in the Carrick, it has been a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Next, we have, in terms of other midfielders, Mason Mount hasn't had many minutes this season for Manchester United due to injury. I think he's one of those players I would sell. His best performance this season is either the Palace game where he scored away or the Wolves game where he's fantastic. Other than that, there hasn't really been, or Sunderland as well. Listen, he started off the season getting a lot of minutes. He started in the Arsenal game and a few games following that, and he was someone who looked pretty good under Amorim. I mean, the 3 goals he got this season, one against Sunderland, one against Palace, and one against Sunderland. One against Wolves. Sorry, there hasn't been many moments for Mount this season. I think is the fact that he's injury prone. The last time he was involved was against Arsenal, and he hasn't really had a chance to shine under Carrick. I think his season has been limited, and hasn't played in a while. So out of that, I'd have to give it a 4 out of 10. Next, we have Patrick Dorgu. Now, Patrick Dorgu's season, again, under Amorim wasn't great. He started left wing back. He had a few games at right wing back and just wasn't great in them. And he just didn't look like he was that sort of player. Then Carrick and Darren Fletcher put him in that more advanced role on the left. And we do only have to remember he is 21 years of age and he's had some good performances this season. The goal against City was brilliant. The goal against Arsenal was even better. And again, he's someone who was having a great kind of period at United, and then he got kind of took by that massive injury, which was frustrating. As I said, his second season at the club, and it was difficult when he came in because he came in mid-season, he struggled to kind of adapt. He got a red card, I remember that Ipswich game, then that kind of halted his form, and then this season I think he's just looked totally different. And in that left wing position, I think that's where you get the best out of Dorgu. He's got good cross on him. He's still someone who needs a lot of improvement, but he's got a good shot, as we've seen against Arsenal and against City. He's got a good cross on him, as we saw in the Burnley game. I think coming from Lecce, someone where he had relatively inexperienced, or he was relatively inexperienced, and then he come into a United team, he was kind of hit with all that pressure. I think he handled it well, and this season it was going to be a big season for him. Hopefully he comes back and he's the same Dorgu that we've seen, because he was really getting to being that top level player that we know and saw before the injury. So yeah, Dorgu, there's a lot of talent there. I think this season has been quite impressive for him. Hopefully next season's better, and he's definitely someone I'd keep at the football club going forward. This season, if I had to rate out of 10, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I'd give him a 7 actually. I think it has been pretty decent. Then you have Bruno Fernandes. Now Bruno Fernandes, this guy is a joke. He's Manchester United. He's been United's best player since he joined, like consistently. And look at all the managers that he's been through, and even this season's been really impressive. He started a lot of games. I mean, the fact that he recovered from a hamstring injury in like 3 or 4 games, or like 2 or 3, I don't know how many, I think it was like 17 days he recovered from a hamstring injury, was fantastic. Like he's just a freak of nature, and 21 goal contributions in 26 games this season. I have to, surely he beats the record. He needs 7 assists in 9 games, and I think he's someone who deserves to win the Champions League and the Premier League at the club. I think we've said that many times. He's a legend of the football club. He starts every sort of minute he's available. He plays 90 minutes. He's a captain, and all the hate that he gets from some of our own fans and some of the rival fans is quite poor, to be honest. I think he's someone who, you look at his stats over his career at United, never got below 20 goal contributions. And I know he's infuriating at times. He might try the Hollywood pass or give the ball away, but no one can doubt his impact and the quality that he has in this team. And without him, I don't know where United would be. So for that, he is on par with Lamont for an 8 out of 10 season, in my opinion. He's been brilliant. The quality that he has is fantastic. He's been the best player in the Premier League this season for me. In a team, in a United side that has been, obviously now more recently we're not struggling, but for large parts of it we were struggling to lose games, but his standards have remained high, and I think he's been someone who, as I said, is the best number 10 in the league by far. 21 goal contributions, and listen, not many of them are penalties. I mean, all the assists he's got, and I know a lot of them have been from set pieces, but some of the assists he has got have been fantastic, and he could have a lot more. There's been a lot of chances he's created. I'm sure he's the top of the chance creation list, as he always is. So yeah, I'm so happy with Bruno this season. Hopefully we get a few more seasons out of him, but yeah, he is on par with United's player of the season with an 8 out of 10 season. Now, Amad Diallo, he's someone who, again, under Amrin was obviously playing right wing back, started right wing, attacking midfield more recently. I think he's someone who, listen, when he's not in the team, you do miss his defensive work rate. He's someone who puts in a lot of work rate at the back, and trying to help out the team, which is something that is quite impressive, and a lot of former players have been kind of scrutinised for not doing that. In terms of, obviously, his attacker, goal and assist wise haven't been the greatest for him this season. 4 goals and assists this season in 23 matches that he's played for the team. Again, the last 2 games he didn't start when he came off the bench in them, which probably, looking back at it, was probably the wrong decision. But at the time, Carrick thought that was the right decision. And I think Amad, for me, his main asset is his work rate. But I think he's someone who can stretch the play, put crosses into the box, can score a goal, which we haven't seen enough of this season. And I think next season will be a big season for Amad. I think he is kind of, United still in the attack sort of thing, trying to find out our best front three, because Sesko's been brilliant, Amad and Bouma Cunha have all been fantastic. And I think it's good to have that sort of competition for places like we have at the back. Everyone's not going to be able to start, and that just keeps people on their toes, allows them to increase their standards, and ultimately kind of work even harder to get into the team. And I think with Amad in the game, I remember the goal that he scored. I remember the goal he scored against Forest. That was a fantastic goal. And was the other one the one against West Ham? So yeah, he hasn't had the chances to score goals, but I think next season will come good for him. And I think with us hopefully being in Europe, there will be a lot of rotation. There will be more opportunities for him under whoever the next manager is. So I'm going to give Amad Diallo a 6.5 out of 10. Now we get into the main sort of attackers. We have Matheus Cunha. For me, more recently he's been fantastic, and I think we are really seeing his impact on the team. Obviously there was a period in the sort of season where he was sort of really frustrated with the fact that he wasn't getting goals and assists, but you look at again the goals and assists that he has got. The goal against Arsenal, fantastic. The assist against Man City, also brilliant. The goal he scored against Bournemouth, the goal he scored against Wolves, the assist he got against Wolves. Yeah, there has been some good moments in it, and listen, he's someone who's played a lot of regular minutes for the team. I think this season has been fantastic. You can see his passion on the pitch. I think another thing that is great is his defensive work rate. And I think that's something that's underrated. I think him getting the Premier League has helped him settled in, and I think his season has been very, very good on large parts. For a first season in the United team that has gone through quite a few managers, it's been good for him, and I think he will continue to improve. He is 26, he's got that quality, and I'm hopeful that next season will be better than what we've seen this season. And I'm not saying this season has been bad. I think large parts of it has been pretty decent. You look at sort of the game against Palace and what he can offer in that. He's someone who's not a left winger, and that's clear. He likes to drift inside. He's more of a central player, and I think if you are going to have that, you need a left back that's going to be bombing on the overlap. That's not Dorgu. Whether that is Shaw, whether that is, again, we've been looking at left backs to bring in Balde, Lewis, or whoever that is. If you are going to play Cunha there, which I think long term United have been linked to left wingers, so they probably don't have the intention to play Cunha there. We have to bring in someone who's fit for that role, and I think that's something that has worked. But that's not a kind of reflection on Cunha. I think Cunha has been very, very good, and he's got some good contributions for United this season. And yes, some of it has been frustrating, but he's someone who you look at was chased by a lot of Premier League clubs. United beat him to it, got the release clause. I think it helped that he obviously wanted to join the football club, which was a positive in itself. But yeah, Cunha, I've been very, very impressed with this season at Manchester United, and yeah, I think as summer signings go, he's been up there with one of the best. I mean, they all have worked out in their sort of own way, and it's taken their time. But Cunha, I'd give him a 6.5 as well. Next, you have Brian Mbeumo. Now, for me, Brian Mbeumo has been fantastic. He's played in, you would say, three positions: right wing, striker, and at times attacking midfielder. I think he's someone who does have a lot of quality. 12 goal contributions in 24 matches this season. Got some big goals in there as well. 2 goals against Spurs, a goal against Liverpool at Anfield, a goal at the Emirates, a goal against City, and a lot of other moments in there as well where he's been impressive. I think Mbeumo was just more of a bagsman. He's someone who does score goals. And listen, you look at sort of the season that he had at Brentford. If he can reach 20 goals, I mean, if we're being realistic, goals-wise this season, if he gets 20 goal contributions, goals and assists, that'd be fantastic. 9 goals, 3 assists this season. He needs another 8 goal contributions in 9 games. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary to happen for Mbeumo. I think his season has been quite impressive. I think the game against Brighton was probably his best one overall, where he looked the best. And listen, he got a good relationship with Ahmad when he was playing with him. He's got a good relationship with a lot of the players. And as I said, he's just been a bagsman and he wanted to join the club, and his stats have been fantastic. And yeah, he's got some big moments. So I think Mbeumo, the move from Brentford, again, was a lot of people went in on the price. I think you have to give Mbeumo a 7 out of 10 for his season. Next, you have Xerxes. Listen, Xerxes hasn't hit the standards that we know that he has. It's been limited minutes. He's one of those players like a Euro that has been affected by the lack of sort of European minutes. I mean, I didn't even rate Aiden Heaven. He's someone I forgot to rate. I give Heaven a 4 out of 10 for his season. I don't think that's a reflection on him. He just hasn't had enough minutes. Xerxes, as I said, 509 minutes played, 18 matches, only started 4 in the league. Scored a goal against Wolves. I think that's the only, and he's got another goal. Trying to think when his other goal was. Goal against Wolves, goal against Palace. That was actually a decent goal, to be fair. Xerxes, I'd give him a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 for Xerxes this season. I don't think it's been great. I think there is a player there. Whether he gets sold or not, we still have to wait and see. Now, the last player that we're going to rate, and then we'll talk about Michael Carrick after, is Benjamin Sesko. Now, Benjamin Sesko, again, 24 matches, 13 started, 8 goals, 1 assist. I mean, you look at his form under Carrick, or even since Amorim left, he got 2 goals against Burnley, a goal against Brighton, a goal against Fulham, goal against West Ham. Bearing in mind, he's a winner against Palace, a winner against Everton, and a winner off the bench against Fulham, secured us a point against Burnley and against West Ham. So he's someone more recently has been fantastic. At the start did struggle under Amorim. Apparently Amorim didn't even want to bring him in. He's an athlete. I think he's a very, very good striker. We're seeing the best out of Sesko now. I think he's a very different player to Rasmus Højlund, and hopefully he's a striker to lead United forward. I think it's also helped the fact that he's had Mbeumo and Cunha at times who have that experience to take the pressure off him, and they've played more of the big games, which has allowed him to settle in and helped him. As I said, I think Cunha is a brilliant player. I think Sesko is someone, again, another good player, and the goals that he scored have been fantastic. You look at sort of the quality of goals that he's had, it's been brilliant. And I don't think no one in 2026 has scored more goals than Benjamin Sesko. So that's an impressive start in itself. And as I said, the goal against Fulham was brilliant. I mean, the one against Everton, the pace that he showed was amazing as well. So I've been very happy with Sesko. I'd give him a 7 out of 10. I think he's someone more recently, he was done a fantastic job. And again, a lot of improvement needed. He is still relatively young, but yeah, I think the quality that he has is fantastic, and the potential. Now finally, Michael Carrick. Listen, Carrick, he's managed 8 games, 1 defeat. I believe. I think he's managed 8 games. Yeah, 8 matches for United, 1-6, drawn 1, lost 1. Has got a 75% win rate at United since being back at the club, averaging 2.4 points per game. It's fantastic to see what Carrick has done, and there's still a lot of sort of room to improve. Don't know if he's going to get the permanent job, whether he should. That's a whole total different conversation. But if you look at the impact on this United team, the way in which he's got us playing is quite impressive. And he hasn't done too much coaching. He's just let the players play and put them in more comfortable roles for them. And I think that's something that has just been a breath of fresh air. He has a good relationship with the players. A few of them he known as well, and again his performance has been good. Yes, there's been a few blips. Obviously, West Ham and Newcastle being the main two, but large parts of it, beating City for the first time with a clean sheet in a while, beating Arsenal at the Emirates for the first time in like 7 or 8 years, beating Spurs, which United haven't been able to do, keeping a clean sheet against Everton. There has been a lot of positives in it, and has a very, very good win rate. Only lost one game, the most informed team in the league since he's took over. And as I said, long may it continue. Hopefully we finish in that Champions League spot, whether that's second or third or whatever that is, and then we assess what happens with Carrick in the summer. But listen, I think Manchester United season has been pretty good in the large part for the last sort of 7 or 8 games under Carrick, and I think we've shown a lot of improvement, and there's definitely a lot of quality there. Not saying we're nowhere near the finished team. I think there's still a lot of investment needed into that midfield, but the players this season, there's been a lot of good players. In terms of my player of the season so far, it's close between Lemons and Bruno Fernandes. I'd probably just go for Lemons because I think without him we wouldn't. I mean, with Bruno as well, but I just think his impact on the team has been brilliant, and I don't think many players could have had that impact in the games in which he's played. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. First one back in a while.